Hello, hello. The famous...
That's clear.
The famous catchphrase of mine, which was used and abused by the URY station manager in his weekly email. I will not have it, if you're listening. I think his name's Alex. Alex, if you're listening, that's mine. Back off, all right?
Yeah.
Took me a long time to come up with that.
Copywriting, hello.
I said good morning the other day. Sometimes I say that. I do mix it up. On that note, good morning to all of our listeners on this very early and still dark Thursday morning.
Oh, it's so dingy.
It's a cold and depressing day in York.
I looked outside and I was just like, oh.
Who can really be bothered
so
with
dark.
this? I was up at 7:30.
Ew.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those days. We're all... Oh, did you know what, though? I feel pretty good, in fairness. I like waking up early, like an hour after I wake up. Not the time, but it makes me feel good about myself.
I just feel a bit too warm, to be honest. I'm used to it.
You are wearing about 7 layers, and those 7 layers are all Rams gear, I will point out. You can't see on the camera, unfortunately, but Mark is wearing a Rams jersey, a Rams hoodie, a Rams hat.
A Fats t-shirt.
And a Fats t-shirt. Brilliant. You absolute sesh head. Did you go out last night?
Of course I did.
Good.
Very good.
Good lad, good lad.
Lots of fun.
How are you, Max? Apart from drowning in a sea of hotel-related work.
Yeah, I'm great. I'm knackered.
Don't blame
I'm
you.
done for.
What time did you
I think
finish
I'm
last
broken.
night?
About 2:45. Well, no, actually, that's a lie. I got home at about 2:15. No, because when I set my alarm, I had 4 hours and something to sleep. So, I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Yeah, super exciting show lined up for you guys today. I'll whiz down on that. As always, we're doing our previews. It's Thanksgiving. So to all our American listeners, happy Thanksgiving, Merry Thanksgiving. I don't know.
Happy, not merry.
Happy. I'm going to say Merry Thanksgiving.
Oh, Lord,
and I'm going
please
to
stop.
coin it. And I'm sure in the next station email, it will open with Merry Thanksgiving because apparently they steal all our catchphrases on this show. But I'm not bitter. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to all our American listeners and English, I guess, if you celebrate Thanksgiving. If you do, you got it right, really. Have yourself a nice turkey tonight. Some collard greens, some pumpkin pie, some pecan pie. I don't know what else they have at Thanksgiving. Mashed potato, probably.
Yeah, they have like mac and cheese.
What, Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They
Sometimes I wish I was born American.
Massive feast.
It
sounds great.
On the note of NFL, I suppose, isn't Thanksgiving one of the best institutions in American sports? Like, you get... When does the first game kick off? 1:30. And just all the way until probably about 10 o'clock at night is just football on. Like, in England, that equates to 5:30 till about 4 in the morning. But... I'll be watching it tonight. If you are American, then do they get Thanksgiving off work? They do, don't they?
It is a holiday, yeah.
It's
just the life.
It
is the life.
Services and all that.
It's like Christmas. To a lot of people over there, it's bigger.
Well, it is bigger because not everyone's Christian. I think they have a large Jewish community, isn't it? Who obviously
isn't Thanksgiving a Christian thing? Yeah.
Is Thanksgiving a Christian thing?
I thought so.
I didn't think it was.
If any of our listeners are Thanksgiving experts and want to get in touch, the number to call or text 07851 101313. That's 07851 101313. Send us a message via the website, ury.org.uk, or tweet us at NFLementary. I'll be monitoring Twitter throughout the show. But yeah, getting back to it, this is our prediction show. We will be going through each of the games, picking out our favourites. But. Listeners of the show will know that a certain someone was conspicuously absent on Tuesday morning, yeah, and therefore deprived me of the chance to experience a rewind from Mr. Boyer live. Indeed. So on that note, harking back to Tuesday's show and that week's action, if you've missed that show, it'll be going up on our YouTube channel later today. Make sure you're subscribed and check it out. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Let me explain to you a punishment and a forfeit that exists because of your failure to do it on time.
Oh dear.
So normally when you do the rewind, you get to choose the bed, am I right?
Yeah.
Today I have chosen the bed for you. With the assistance of Max. It's not the one I initially went for, it's the one that we went for as a team.
This is going to make it very tricky.
It is, because I've just started reading it and it is not going to go at all.
Oh no.
Perfect. Right, here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Give us the jingle.
What do you mean the jingle?
You know the jingle.
Oh, Ricka rewind.
There we go. That was really smooth.
I didn't know.
Here comes your jingle. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Whenever you're ready.
Out of interest, how long does the jingle last?
The jingle is 1 minute and 37 seconds.
You best start.
Oh dear. This is going to really mess with
Would you
my
like me
head.
to restart?
Yes, please do. Okay. You'll see in a second.
Those of you with a
why
musical
that's
ear will
gonna
notice
mess with my head so much.
that's the 12 Elves of Christmas jingle there.
Can
Are
I
you ready?
quickly see if there's another jingle on there that'll fit?
No.
No, it's your punishment.
But it will be incredible if I do.
Okay, here's the other option for you, if I can find it. Are you ready? You get to choose out of these two. Here's the other option.
I don't think you understand. It's one or the other.
Oh, no. Okay, I'll go with the second one and
Really?
I'll just blow my own mind.
Okay, when you're ready,
Oh,
I'll start the
it'll
jingle.
be the strongest counter melody in the history of music.
And a 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Seattle beat Green Bay, going 5-5. Cowboys steal a win while Falcons nosedive. Panthers don't draw while attempting to. Ravens beat Bengals and luck shows what he can do. Oh, NFL, NFL, NFL games. Week 11's come and gone and there's some weeks left to play. Hey, NFL, NFL, NFL games. Who will make the playoffs and who will cry that day? Fitzmagic falls away, Giants get their 3, Texans beat Redskins, Alex Smith's hurting, Steelers top the Jags despite their defensive plays, Raiders beat the Cardinals and Case Keenum wins the day. Oh, NFL, NFL, NFL games, Week 11's come and gone and there's 7 weeks left to play. Hey, NFL, NFL, NFL games, who will make the playoffs and who will cry that day? Saints all very high, looking hard to beat. Viking lose to Bears with Mitchell Trubisky. Over 100 points, scoring over 50. Rams sneak past the Chiefs to win, best game in history. Oh, NFL, NFL, NFL games. Week 11's come and gone and there's 7 weeks left to play. Oh, NFL, NFL, NFL games. Who will make the playoffs and who will cry that day?
That was beautifully synced with the crescendo of the rom-commers riff. Excellent, Mark. That was worth waiting for. Out of 10, bearing in...
Since you're docked 10 points,
Yeah.
you get 3. No,
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Oh, okay, I wasn't.
What was the previous high?
No, well, 10 apparently, because you said you'd give him 11 the next time. But we still...
yeah, you get 11.
What? I'd give it a 9.5.
9.5.
Yeah. Oh, no.
So what's in the middle of 11 and 9.5?
9.63 is what I give that.
Is this just going to be the power creep of like things getting like exponentially closer?
I'll tell you what your score is now as I figure it out on a mathematical system. What did you give him? 11.
Mm-hmm.
You scored 10.365.
Bro. Nice.
Sounds about right. Congratulations to Mark for that incredible rewind. And now back to our regularly scheduled programming. You are why. So, looking at this week, let's look at the Thanksgiving games first, obviously. Prediction segment, obviously, for those of you who haven't listened to a Thursday show before, we're just going to read out all the games, say our predictions, and, you know, I will get a pen
What's
and
the
write
word?
them down. Good point. What is the word?
Bird.
The bird is the word.
Bird is a word, yeah.
You've got to just,
I enjoy that.
You've got to
Yeah.
start singing the whole song. You've got to go bird, bird, bird.
No, I'm not. We're just going to say bird.
You can sing the song, Mark,
We're
seeing
gonna
as you're
say
so
bird.
musically talented based on that rewind. Okay, first up, Lions Bears. I'm going to bird that straight up.
Why?
Interesting game.
Trubisky's out.
Yeah, for that
So-
exact reason.
Let me just change my pick quickly.
To be fair, I still I still have the Bears winning
I'm
this
still
game.
on the Bears, yeah. I hate the Lions now.
But it's Chase Daniel, so I think he can pull out one good game.
Yeah. Mark?
Do you know what? I'm just going to go against the grain and say the Lions. You know, I'm so far behind in pretty much any pick'em ever.
And
But-
fantasy. I lost this fantasy week, can I just say? Because my opponent scored 84 points in that single Rams-Chiefs game. From Goff, Josh Reynolds, Greg Zuerlein, and the Rams defense.
Yes.
Ridiculous. I'm fuming. Anyway.
That's what happens when you have games that go to over 50 points apiece.
Yeah.
Interestingly, though, the Lions have 37 wins on Thanksgiving, which is the most in NFL history.
They play every year on Thanksgiving, don't
Yeah,
they?
they do.
Yeah.
But
Why?
I suppose that kind of
It's
cheats.
just like a thing, isn't it? I
It
don't
has
know.
become a thing. It's like the Cowboys always play, seemingly, the Redskins.
Yeah. Don't know why. Don't know. I
I
can
guess
understand the
that kind
Cowboys
of-
game
yeah.
because, it's America's team versus a culturally appropriating natural Red Indians or whatever. Anyway, Cowboys, Redskins, on that note.
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Yeah, I've got Cowboys as
In
well.
fairness, Colt McCoy has beaten the Dallas Cowboys before, but that's besides the point.
I kind of want to bird this one as well.
Okay, then. We'll
That's a
bird it.
double bird. Saints, Falcons. Can anyone pick against the Saints?
No, but
Correct. Not me. I'm going
Um,
Saints.
Do you really think that anyone can take it to the Saints, let alone the Falcons?
a division rival, yeah, considering the fact their only loss this year is to the most deplorable of the division rivals. Yeah.
I mean,
By the way,
we're in a
it's in
good
the same
competition for that at the
stadium that
moment.
they lost their game.
Was that in week 1?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, week 1. You do realise how long
Okay,
that
let's
was.
put it another way. The Saints put 40 points in that game and still lost. Can you think of an offense that can put on over 40 points against a team
But
despite the problems on the
is starting to
defense?
show up now.
Kansas City.
I think, okay, and the Rams lost to the Saints, so that don't really help.
There you go.
I'm confused. You're going Saints.
Yes.
and
I'm
you're
not saying the
going-
Falcons. I'm going Saints too. I'm just saying.
If you want to bird it, we can bird it.
No.
No.
No, it's not what I'm talking about.
Eagles, Giants.
It's in Philadelphia, isn't it not?
I've gone
Come
Eagles.
on, Eagles.
Yeah.
Giants are still awful.
Their historic 2-game win
Do
streak
you
is
know
over.
what? I've really enjoyed. I'll briefly say this because I doubt we'll talk about it moving forward. But what I've really enjoyed this week on my Twitter is the creeping of Giants Twitter as towards Eli can still give us another good season.
Yeah.
And, the game against the Bucks was like this was Eli's best passer rating since 2012. And I can guarantee right here, right now, the Giants will not take a quarterback in next year's draft, and they will try and squeeze another year out of Eli, and it will catastrophically go wrong because of the 2 games they've just won against the
They'll lose it
49ers
down.
and the Bucks. Well, they won't because he's getting paid stupid
Okay.
money. But
Well, fair. But I mean, like, if he had any sort of pride, they'd lose him because he's just
Yeah.
going to made to
Can't trade in them.
He's going to be made to look awful.
it's going to be fun. Bills, Jags, Bird. I have something to say about this game.
Okay, I don't know if anyone else does. I'm going with Jags.
I'm also going with Jags.
Jags.
Interesting. Panthers, Seahawks, Bird.
Is that just because you want to say something about Cam Newton?
So
No.
basically going to talk about every game then.
So far, yeah. I have a good list going. I've gone Panthers, obviously. I don't know if that would ever be up for dispute, but
It's a really tough one.
But
Because I feel like Seattle are the kind of team that the way they operate is the way that Carolina can be undone.
it is in Bank of America.
I
will say
don't.
that. In
I'm-
Carolina.
I'm going with the Panthers.
Nice.
I've
I
got
appreciate
back
your
on.
solidarity.
I'll have to think about this one until the next.
Okay, we'll come
until we
back
talk
to
about
it. Ravens, Raiders.
Ravens.
Oh, poor Raiders and their terrible run defense.
I've already written CMM above Ravens because if either of you pick Raiders, then I will change your mind.
It's not a case of if, but how.
Yeah, another interesting note. Did you see how much John Gruden and Derek Carr were arguing on the sidelines in the Cardinals game? Like, the NFL literally uploaded a video saying all of Derek Carr and John Gruden's altercations on the sidelines. I was like, you are scraping the barrel here.
That's rough.
Bucks 49ers.
It's in Tampa.
Niners.
You're going
49ers.
Niners, interesting.
Nick Mullins.
I'm going with Tampa because this is
Yeah, man, have faith in your team.
this is just too bad a team for them
They're
to
coming
lose to.
back.
I could foresee them losing to the Giants, but to this 49ers at this point.
I've also gone Bucks. Bengals, Browns.
Bengals. It's in
Browns.
Cincinnati.
Interesting. I might bird this one then because I am also going Browns. I think this is going to be a watershed game. I'll explain later. Jets, Patriots.
Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots.
Yeah,
I was just interested to see if anyone would
Yeah.
say Jets and risk stupidity. Chargers, Cardinals,
Chargers.
Chargers.
Charginals, as I like to ship them.
Do you think it's going to be a tie?
No, it would definitely be a Chargers win, unfortunately. I do kind of weirdly like the Cardinals. I don't know why. There's just something about them. I think it's because I like David Johnson.
Yeah.
And Larry Fitzgerald. And I really like Josh Rosen as well, actually. But Broncos, Steelers.
Steelers.
Also Steelers.
I know it's in Denver, but
Steelers, in it. They're on a roll.
Yeah.
James Conner.
Can't see Case Keenum
Conner's got to bounce back.
toppling Pittsburgh.
I'm going to go
I really wondered what that noise was. Just heard a vague groaning noise, and I couldn't tell if it was in my headphones or like in the outside environment. Yeah. Are you going Broncos? In fairness, in Colorado, altitude issues.
Yes, I'm going Broncos.
Yes, I managed to convince Mark to argue.
I'm going to back
Just
my
so you
boy,
know,
Case
the
Keenum.
Steelers are undefeated on the road this year.
Just so you know, Case Keenum.
I did know him, and he went away for a year because he was good, and then he came back down to reality, and now it's the old Case Keenum.
Colts, Dolphins.
Colts.
Yeah,
Colts,
same.
yeah.
This is a big game actually for the Colts because if they win this, they're
It's
edging
kind
out
of
a wild card.
It's another
threat.
Titans. Like last week was the Titans. They dealt with that. This week is the Dolphins. They deal with that. I can't. If they beat these, I can't see any of
That's
these
a
wild
huge
card
win streak
pretenders.
too. 5 games.
Yeah, impressive. Vikings, Packers.
Vikings, because Aaron Rodgers cannot win on the road and hasn't done all season, hasn't done since the middle of last season.
Can anyone hear that? It's a bird. I want to talk about this game.
Yeah, I love Vikings, Packers.
Interestingly, according to NFL.com, the Packers are 4-5-1 right now.
Yeah.
But in Aaron Rodgers' career, he's 4-5-1 as a starter against Mike Zimmer defenses.
Interesting. That's a good stat. Are you going, Mark? Mark's currently milking a cow while he decides, or doing something else.
I was going for rock, paper, scissors with myself, but that will do. I'm going to go with Vikings.
Interesting.
I'll say this though: the Packers lose this game, they are out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I've gone Packers.
Well
for that
and
exact
truly.
reason. Texans, Titans.
Texans.
Also Texans. This is a potential bird.
Go for it.
Titans. Because this is the
Done it.
game the Titans would win. Because
kill them.
and by the way, if the Titans win this and the Texans lose, that's 7-4, 6-5, and 6-5 in a division with what 4 or 5 games.
We did
to go.
say it would be an exciting division, not for the reasons as it's transpired to be.
Yeah.
We thought the Colts would be filling in the role that the Jags are filling in, but I'm here for it. AFC South, NFC South, best 2 divisions in the league? Question mark. You are why. Right, moving on to the birds. Lions and Bears. I just wanted to talk about Chase Daniel and whether...
the first time anyone on any radio show has ever spoken about Chase Daniel.
That's a phrase that's never been said
Yeah.
before. Whether that... Well, firstly, here's my theory. The Bears this year are the Jags... the Jacksonville Jaguars... The last year's Jacksonville Jaguars of this year. So, amazing defense, passable quarterback, incredible running game, and just kind of taking the league by surprise.
First of
Thoughts?
all, your comparison of Trubisky to Bortles
I think it's
is
more than valid.
awful.
To be fair, I see where he's coming from. I'm not saying that Trubisky is as bad as Blake Bortles, but I see where he's coming from.
Can we please get out of December of last year? Bowles was good in December.
This isn't because
This was it.
I'm saying Bortles is good. This is because I'm saying Trubisky is bad.
Trubisky isn't bad though. He's
Trubisky
raw
is
because he's
bad.
in his second year. Bortles is in his 5th and still sucks.
Trubisky is...
And this is a
Does
far
he
more
not just make
complex
you
offense.
think... yeah, but... I just think that this game will show Chase Daniels will have a good game, as good a game as Trubisky would have had, and it will show that Trubisky's isolated success this year. And when I say that, I mean the fact that his stats are being incredibly swelled by certain games, like the Bucs game where he threw for 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Lol.
Yeah.
Nice
And it will
defense.
show that Trubisky's success this season isn't as a result of him being a good player. It's as a result of Matt Nagy coordinating players open and scheming certain ways which he can succeed. So Trubisky also has just taken over Cam Newton for the leader in rushing yards in the league. And whereas, Cam's rushing is more of a design thing, that one of the main similarities I see with Trubisky and Bortles is a reliance on their scrambling ability to get them out of their throwing problems.
I can't respond to that. I can't respond to that.
And
I can't. Because for the first how many years of Cam Newton's career has he relied on his running game? Because he can't pass.
All right. Let me say, when I say relying on their scrambling ability to cover the fact they can't pass, I'll then apply that to Cam. He doesn't rely on his scrambling ability to cover the fact he can't pass. He relies on his scrambling ability because for the first 7 years of his career, his offensive coordinator didn't know that receivers were meant to get open. His number one receiver was Kelvin Benjamin for a large portion of that, who is...
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. He had Smitty for the first few years, and then Kelvin
Smith
Benjamin.
Steve Smith is a potential Hall of Fame wide
and when
receiver.
Steve Smith was there, Cam's stats were incrementally better.
His average was 59% completion, which is his entire career average.
I don't want to make this into a Cam Newton argument, but the reason Cam Newton completion percentage was so low is because Mike Shula would call 2 runs up the middle on first and second down for about 3 yards and then expect Cam to throw it 50 yards down the field because that was the only way his brain worked. Oh, we got minimal gains on first and second down. Now we have to go for 20 yards on third down. So Cam was going for these deep shots. But let's be honest, slow receivers who couldn't get separation, leading to lower completion percentages. Or, when receivers run deep routes, it opens up the underneath. That's why Cam scrambled so much, because the yards were there, because that was the only plays that they called.
This is deplorable. I can't respond to that.
Because I'm right.
No, I can't.
No.
Anyway, Trubisky is Bortles.
He's
2.0.
He's not Bortles because...
I will be proven right. I will be.
I feel that Trubisky doesn't lose a game, whereas Blake Bortles does. Blake Bortles quite literally throws interceptions until he loses, whereas Mitch Trubisky...
It comes with experience. I just think this Jags team and this Bears team compared to the Jags team of last year, i.e. defense dominated, I still think the Bears will win this game, don't get me wrong, and I still think their offense will function with Chase Daniel starting, but in the same way that the Jags were carried by their defense last year, the Bears are carried by their defense this year.
I don't think it will. I think the offense, although the running game will still be on, I think that he'll throw interceptions.
In related news, I think I've broken Max.
I can't talk for a while because I'm furious.
Why?
I'm just so triggered. I cannot believe how hypocritical that was.
Why? No, it's not.
As a Panthers fan, as someone that's watched the Panthers for the last 7 years,
Cam does not
exactly
run
what
to
you've
cover
gotten
up for
from
his
Cam
throwing
Newton.
deficiencies.
To be fair,
I'm sorry. All of Mitchell Trubisky's receivers are all first and second years. They have no experience.
No, they're not.
They have no
Trubisky
experience
has incredible
starting.
weapons around him. Trey Burton, Anthony Miller, what's his name? Tyler Gabriel.
What did he do in Atlanta? Nothing.
He learned from Julio.
Oh.
Who's their number one? Allen Robinson, Trey Burton at tight end, Jordan Howard, Tariq Cohen in the backfield, a good offensive line.
Trubisky's by that same token, and everyone learned from Steve Smith, so why do they all suck? Oh, hang on a minute. Maybe they didn't suck so much as your quarterback's accuracy sucked.
The Panthers, you can't say the Panthers have had good receivers, but for this year, ever since the days of Smitty, name one Panthers receiver that was good since Steve Smith retired before this year.
I don't care. It's just such a hypocritical statement.
It's not. It's an educated statement. It's got nuance. Anyway, moving forward. Cowboys, Redskins. This for me is... I'll let Max cool down. Mark, I'll probably address you. This for me is the battle for the NFC East. It's the Redskins on 6-4, the Cowboys on 5-5. Whoever wins this game will win the NFC East. Can Colt McCoy do it?
No.
I mean, in fairness, he can because he has before, but...
No, I don't.
I'm just really excited to see him play. With a name like that, it seems like he was destined for Hollywood and a Western, and he somehow ended up as quarterback of...
Colt McCoy.
Yeah. I'm just excited to see. I've heard a lot. Colt McCoy's time was before I really got into American football, and I've heard a lot about him.
Wait, Colt McCoy had a time?
Yeah, well, was it? He was mildly successful for 5 minutes in 2011.
I think so. I can't remember when it was, but I think he kind of ended up taking over from someone.
Did he take over from RG3 for a bit before they got Kirk Cousins? Or?
No, because Kirk Cousins, weirdly enough, was drafted in the same draft class as RG3. By the Redskins.
Oh yeah, the 4th round.
Yeah. So they looked out in that sense, but
which is a weird thing to do to take 2 quarterbacks.
I don't know. Maybe Colt McCoy took over from Donovan McNabb. I can't remember.
Either way, Colt McCoy had a time in the past,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to see whether he can produce. And in fairness, as much as we hate on the Cowboys, and yes, their offense is dysfunctional, the defense this year has been playing lights out, really. DeMarcus Lawrence is having a great year. Jalen Smith and Leighton Van Der Esch, their linebackers. Chidobe Awuzie at cornerback. You just wonder how good that defense could have been if they had traded for Earl Thomas.
Yeah.
Kind of makes it...
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm rooting for Colt McCoy.
Yeah, so
the Redskins.
just
It'd
a
be
name
funny.
like that. I might get a McCoy jersey.
It'd be really funny to see Colt McCoy playing in the
LaShawn's
playoffs.
brother.
Brother from a very different mother.
Yeah, it's in Dallas. If Colt McCoy goes to AT&T and wins the game, hats off to him. I'll be very proud.
Yeah.
He reminds me of you, Mark. I don't know why.
Me.
Yeah.
I'll
I just
get a
get that
picture of
impression.
him.
I don't know what he looks like. I don't know what he sounds like. I don't know what he plays like. But if you were an American football player, I feel like you'd be Colt McCoy. Just a nice, clean white boy
He doesn't look like a flashy American.
making his way in
Hollywood
the
style.
big lights of the NFL. I feel like he still drives a pickup. He still wears a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
He still wears cowboy
He
boots to
still wears
practice.
like a lumberjack outfit.
Yeah, he doesn't have official NFL pads. He has pieces of wood that he chopped from a tree when he was 7 years old because his family couldn't afford NFL pads.
Chopped? You mean he got the wood and just like ripped it open with his bare
Yeah,
hands?
he's Colt McCoy.
Exactly.
He can do what he wants. Colt McCoy is an official friend of the show from this point
He
forward.
always has like a bit of straw in his mouth that he just, like, chews, and he's like,
Even when he plays.
He has 27 touchdowns in his career to 23 interceptions. and
Hey, it's a
11
positive
fumbles.
ratio.
27 to 23.
Yeah, to be fair, he spent 3 years in Cleveland.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where he was
His
successful.
biggest year was
wasn't
in
it?
Cleveland. He
Yeah,
played
yeah.
13 games, completed 57% of his passes,
Good completion percentage.
with an average throw of 5.9. Yeah, okay, we're going to close that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Colt McCoy. I'm excited to see him tear the Cowboys apart, but equally, I do think the Cowboys will win. Will Zeke have a big game? It's an interesting matchup, isn't it? Zeke
He
against
should
this
do,
Redskins
because
run
the thing
defense.
is
Don't do that. He really annoys me when he
the
does that.
formula is obvious, and it's just whether or not Coach Clapp feels like it's going to happen today.
Yeah.
It's whether they're going to get like tricked by Amari Cooper and just be like thinking, oh no.
Well, this is
Amari
interesting.
Cooper.
We were saying on Tuesday that I think the trade for Amari Cooper has actually been a really...
Oh.
I think they massively overpaid for him, but it has actually helped this Cowboys team because now that there's the threat of a pass, Zeke is able to run and go off.
Yeah, but now Evil Emperor Jerry thinks that like everything's sort of coming together again, and it's still not.
It's not. The team isn't that. The defense, it's weird because the defense is there. I feel like they have the pieces on offense to have a functional offense, not a ground beating offense. A ground beating? World beating. Ground breaking. That's the one. But they need a new offensive coordinator, in my opinion. But that's it. We've had the Cowboys chat many a time on this show, and I'm sure we'll have it many more times. Next was Bills v Jags. The reason I wanted to bird this one, I'm guessing we're all thinking it's going to be a walkover, right?
No.
Yeah,
I think the Jags are going to struggle.
I think it's going to be a really
cold,
close game.
And they're not going to like that. But it gets to a point with pride that you cannot
Josh Allen
lose.
back yet?
I don't know, to be honest. I'm having a look at the game now.
Oh, yeah. Josh Allen in line to start Sunday versus Jaguars.
Oh, okay. Can I change my pick? I'm changing to the Bills.
Why? Because of Josh Allen?
Yeah, he's going to hurdle over the...
My friend Callum's a massive Bills fan.
He's going to hurdle the entire Jags defense.
If the Bills beat the Jags, Jalen Ramsey should fire himself.
Jalen Ramsey has also said, I'm not backing off my comments in respect to him calling Josh Allen trash in his interview with GQ. So that'll be interesting.
Do you know what I really hope? I hope that Josh Allen stiff arms Jalen Ramsey into the
It
ground.
would be quite impressive, wouldn't it? I feel like he'd do it by accident, though. Josh Allen, I feel like Josh Allen was... he was around 14 years old, and he looked like the high school quarterback or whatever, and the coach said, Josh, what are you doing? Get in here. And his name was actually something like Bill Weatherby. And he went, what? And then the coach was like, come on, we're starting. And he accidentally walked in and started playing quarterback and then realised that his arm is incredibly strong. And ever since then, he's kind of been living a lie of being a quarterback. That just feels like the situation Josh Allen would get
I can
himself
imagine
into.
him being
Bill
that
Weatherby.
tall at like 14 and just like all the other kids, like, and him just like
He
walking.
just stood on children's heads.
This is actually quite an interesting game, though, because you've got a top 5 defense in the Bills with an offense which is pretty deplorable against a Jags team who on paper have a very good defense with an offense which is pretty deplorable.
Do you think the Jags will still try and... I didn't read a thread by someone called Warren Sharp, who's like a football analyst. And he was talking about basically the reason, well, other than execution problems, one of the main reasons that the Jags offense has been dysfunctional. Was it on Tuesday that I denounced Blake Bortles, or was it last Thursday? Yeah, if you missed that,
I did hear you denounce Blake Bortles.
Sorry, Blake. I'm sick and tired of you, mate. One of the reasons the Jags offense has been so dysfunctional this year is just the predictability of their play calling. So it's always run on first down, and then run on second down, and then pass on third down, which, I mean, I feel like the NFL divorced quite a few years ago, but there's still some teams that are catching up with that. So it'll be interesting to see if Fournette can have... I feel like, right, as much as I hate Fournette, he is definitively in the wrong place. They're not maximising what he can do and how he can do. I feel like they're not even trying to work on him in the passing game. Which, let's be like, to be a legitimate running back threat, you need to be. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily.
He may not be able to catch.
Yeah, but like you work on it. I feel like Fournette could be so much better and could be more than just this one-dimensional power back that the Jags are trying to make him. Which we all know power backs are broken and dysfunctional in today's NFL.
I think this is weirdly classic Jags sort of scheming.
Yeah,
having a dominant running game, because throughout the whole franchise's history, they've always had a really good running game. But you can't keep using that formula. And I think, wasn't Fournette picked like 4th overall in his draft class? Yeah. Like, you would expect that he can catch a ball.
You look at how McCaffrey's playing now, picked 3 picks below him, or even Kamara from the Saints. I know he's only picked 3rd round, but like he was a first-round talent based on what he's doing. Yeah. And both of them are runners first, yes. Well, arguably, they're just equally good at catching and running, and they're being used in their passing games. And look what's happening. Like, the offenses are really picking up. And Fournette... I know everyone says, Fournette can help Blake. You know, if you establish a strong run game, helps the quarterback. I think they could be using Fournette to help Blake Bortles in other ways, just by, like, you know, instead of Blake Bortles taking a sack or throwing a stupid pick or fumbling, just a 5-yard check down to Fournette out of the backfield or something like that. Because, you know, Fournette's a man mountain. If you throw him the ball, I feel like he can easily run over someone or run past someone.
Did you know that last season Fournette clocked the fastest speed in the NFL in a game?
Was it force equals mass time? No, was it speed equals mass times momentum? Was it force? What's that equation?
I can't remember.
Basically, he's huge.
But either way, I think
he's an athlete, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's interesting because him picked in as 4th. I don't feel that he's done as much for the team as Saquon Barkley has for the Giants.
It's the same point. Yeah,
I know Saquon Barkley is used slightly more in the backfield, but Saquon Barkley does make more plays just with his legs because he can squat.
In fairness to Leonard Fournette as well, his O-line is trash. Like, as soon as you sign Eric Flowers, and that's an upgrade over what you've got. I think they've got like 3 or 4 injuries on the O-line, equally he has Andrew Norwell last year when McCaffrey ran behind. It's something like when McCaffrey ran behind anyone else ran to the right. He was averaging like 3.2 yards per carry. When he ran behind Norwell, he was averaging 5.6 yards per carry. Wow. I would argue though that it's laziness from the Jags. Yeah, because they probably thought, we've got great defense as long as our offense is passable. And neither is. You look at like what do they actually invest in their offense? They let Allen Robinson go. They let Alan Hearns go. They're 2 probably best receivers. They're relying on Dante Moncrief and DJ Chark. Moncrief is at best, a 3rd or 4th receiver. DJ Chark is a rookie. You can't expect him to. Who was drafted in like the 3rd or 4th round. You can't expect him to pick up that entire offense. They invested in Norwell, yes, but they clearly didn't really put enough into their O-line. They've got Fournette, and then they've done a desperate trade for Hyde. They've got TJ Yeldon, but they completely overworked him, so now they've kind of ruined his season. They didn't invest in their offense the same way they invested in their defense.
And they don't have a quarterback.
Last year.
Yeah, that is a fundamental issue.
I think it was interesting.
It's weird to be agreeing with you guys on this. I won't lie.
It was interesting watching the Steelers game because I think for the first time in a long time I saw some life in the Jags defense.
Yeah.
Like they were making plays. They were. And if the Jags defense actually plays, then potentially they could just walk over the Bills because
it could become a defensive game.
Because I'm
thinking it's going to be some kind of 9-3. Do you remember when the Panthers played Bills last year? Some kind of game like that.
Yeah.
Not one for the neutral. But yeah, we all picked Jags in that one.
The complete opposite of the Rams-Chiefs game.
Yeah, pretty
basically.
much.
Well, I think the Rams-Chiefs is a classic example of why the running plays don't work anymore. Because if you look at how few runs there were in that game.
The other point to take from that is the Rams ran with Gurley like 9 times, didn't they? And their play action was still successful.
Yeah.
And obviously the conventional theory is you need to establish your run game for play action to work. But actually, McVay was just calling play action because it helps scheme players open and things like that.
Also, because Todd Gurley is such a threat that you have to respect that. Because, like, if Jared Goff looks and, like, all the players standing, like, 500 meters away from him, he'll just be like, oh, yeah, I'll just give it to Gurley, who'll get 499 of those.
Interesting.
You know, maths. But, so I think that the Jags would have that. So you'd have to respect Leonard Fournette because he's powerful enough that he will be able to shake some tackles if they're coming in from far rather than close.
Yeah. Panthers Seahawks. I've written Panthers Steelers down in my book. Let's not relive that nightmare. Yeah. The reason I think this is interesting is it's almost like a wild card game. I don't think I don't think. I know neither of these two teams are going to win their divisions, barring some kind of miracle. I don't think the Steelers mathematically. Well, I think they mathematically can, but they won't. And the Panthers, I know they definitely mathematically can because we still have to play the Saints twice. But based on where the team is at now, I don't see us beating the Saints twice. Maybe
even if you beat the Saints twice, it won't be enough.
Yeah, we'd still need the Saints to lose other games, and I can't really see that happening. So essentially, both of these teams are potential wildcards. They're up against each other in this kind of wildcard race. 2 weeks ago, the Panthers were still in the race for the NFC South. The Seahawks were basically kind of down and out a bit. And, well, going more than that, after the first couple of weeks of the season, everyone was hating on the Seahawks, and they've kind of come back and showed themselves. I think it's a super interesting game. I'm happy it's at Carolina because we seem to be able to remember what American football is when we play at home, and then we go away and we forget for long stretches that how to play and how to score points. I think the Panthers will, based on the fact that it's at home, but I think this is probably, if I had to pick a team that the Panthers are like, I'd probably pick the Seahawks. I think it's quite a good comparison, and that's why it's going to be an interesting game in terms of where the team is at in like a kind of semi-rebuild, semi-reload, like amazing quarterback, good run game, defense. Well, I think the Seahawks have a much better defense. I will say that, but I think the Panthers have probably a slightly more functional offense.
Well, you say that, but I think if the Panthers defense played like they can, they'd have a far superior defense.
There is something going wrong, and I don't want to pin it on the defensive coordinator because I feel like it's a cop out, and I think the Panthers defense last couple of years has been built on our D line being incredible, and getting pressure, and what that allows is our linebackers to be amazing because they're either not getting blocked or they're feeding off pressure. And this year our D-line's been pretty trash, to be honest with you. The only person I can praise on that D-line is Mario Addison, and what that's meant is that Kuechly and Shaq Thompson and Thomas Davies aren't being allowed to make incredible plays. They're being asked to essentially clean up their mess a lot of the time, and it's putting more pressure on our secondary, who I actually think have played quite well this year. But it's just you have like a Panthers formula for success, and this year, because the D-line isn't performing, it's all come crashing down.
Yeah. This is why I was saying
I'm
the
scared
Seahawks
because the Seahawks O-line is this year has just completely reformulated itself and playing probably, I think, as a top 10 O-line.
And given the fact that their run game is so strong,
I'm worried we're going to get gashed up the middle so bad.
The Seahawks have proven to be a bit of a strong away team as well, so it's very interesting. The thing is, well, with the Panthers, this will be their third straight loss, and suddenly 6-2 became 6-5.
Yeah,
and that's
you're just
good.
Hitting mediocrity. This is a really important game for us.
You need to get back on track.
Seahawks do have the momentum advantage because they lost last week.
No, they beat Green Bay.
Oh, they beat Green Bay
in Thursday Night Football. Yeah, lost the week before to the Rams, but it was a close game. Yeah, Seahawks are playing well at the moment.
That was against the Rams. So apart from the Rams game, they're on the way up.
Yeah.
And they have come back into it. So I feel that they do have that momentum advantage going into this, whereas the Panthers have actually lost quite
a lot.
Yeah.
So are you changing your prediction, Mark?
You
went Panthers.
Because I want the Rams to win the division.
I feel like you don't predict, you wish. Max, need an answer.
I'm stuck between the Seahawks being the better team right now and the Panthers playing in Carolina.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Carolina.
Oh, interesting.
But it wouldn't surprise me at all to see the Seahawks come over this. Yeah.
And fair play to them if they do. Bucks 49ers. Wanted to talk
about this?
Yeah.
Why?
Are we?
No.
Oh, we're not. Whoops. Sorry. Bengals Browns. That's what I wanted to talk about.
But so you know how like Rivers has thrown for 2 touchdowns or more every game, which is he's the only player to do that. Bucks starting quarterbacks over 2 interceptions in 6 straight games.
Go team.
Yep.
Solid.
What's the Bucks like catchphrase? Do they have a catchphrase?
Go Bucks.
Go
or
Bucks.
Fire the cannons.
Fire the cannons. Fire the cannons.
Or it's a Bucks life.
Into the arms
More
of the opposition cornerbacks.
Fire the coaches. Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
True. Fire Cotter. It starts here. Bengals Browns. I think this is the week where the Browns definitively stamp their authority on the AFC North. Chubb
At 4-6-1.
Mayfield. Yeah, I know. Well, you know, this season's gone.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. With the Steelers in your division and with the state of the AFC kind of wild card race, I mean, they have a sniff, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Win 4 more games to go.
What, 8-6-1?
No.
They'd still have one more.
They still
They
have
could
one
go.
more.
Yeah, they could. The best they could do is go 9-6-1, which you know, in years past has gotten you a wild card spot. But yeah, because you play.
9-6-1.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said 8-6.
They said 9.
I said 9-6-1.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
You know, in years past, that could get you a wild-card spot. Whether it will this year is a matter for debate because you've obviously got, Steelers, who's AFC East? Patriots. Why did that even cross my mind?
Yeah, but even if you factor out the Chiefs, the Steelers, the Patriots, and the Texans,
you've still got
the Browns
Chargers,
have to oust
the Browns, the Colts, the Dolphins.
Okay, the Browns aren't making the playoffs.
Titans.
Let's just make that clear.
But, you know, I think this is a real opportunity for them to be like, firstly, advertise yourself to a new head coach about the amazing talent you've got and the amazing impact you can have as a team. Secondly, just give Baker some confidence, give Nick Chubb some confidence moving forward into next season.
Do we see anyone at the moment who could...
Well, we were talking about potentially Mike McCarthy. I think that's...
Where's he at the moment?
Green Bay.
But him and Rodgers are obviously falling out. If you haven't seen our Tuesday show, please do check out on YouTube. It's probably my finest ever thumbnail work. So even if you just go to look at the thumbnail, do check it out.
The really interesting
Features
thing,
Aaron Rodgers and
moving forward for Cleveland, is if they bring in someone else, does Greg Williams stay on as defensive coordinator?
I think
The Browns
I've told
defense is
you
playing
before about how I just hate Greg Williams as a
Yeah.
person. So obviously I would fire him instantly, but you know I'm no John Dorsey. I'll say that. Whatever is going on, I'm sure John Dorsey has a master plan.
The interesting thing as well is the last time they played was the Atlanta game,
Yeah,
and their formula there was pass less, run more.
and when you pass, make it count.
Yeah,
Was it 12 straight completions to open the game? with
yes,
Baker
he
Mayfield?
finished 17 from 20, but interestingly that week had 14 less attempts than the next quarterback.
Yeah,
So he threw for 20 passes. The next one was 34, which is quite an insane gap.
yeah.
I'm not saying that's necessarily the formula, but it could
It
be
worked
a
against the
formula.
Falcons.
Yeah.
And you know the Bengals defense has been hot trash this year.
Yeah.
And without AJ Green, their offense has been hot trash this year. John Ross is coming through actually, which is nice to see.
Yeah.
He had a really
I feel
big
that all
game.
their receivers are pretty decent. I feel that if...
Who did they play last
But
week?
remember,
The
guys,
Ravens.
who is the new assistant to the head coach? Hugh Jackson, who is bringing with him all his trade secrets. He doesn't know the trade secrets, but he's bringing them with him.
They were just saying by accident.
Yeah.
I reckon that he'll tell them all the things the Browns will do, and they won't do any of them because it's just what he did.
Yeah,
What he
he'll
made
be
them
like,
do.
what they're gonna do is, we're gonna put Tyrod in, that Baker kid, we'll rest him for a year, and Tyrod will pass the ball for 500 yards. I can guarantee it.
Terrible.
Love
Don't even know if he
Well,
passes
like,
500 yards for the games he
Tyrod will run
plays.
up the middle, and they'll be like, Hugh, you don't have him anymore. And he'll be like, oh.
If I were you, and if I was the offensive coordinator, which I should be, by the way, because I know so much more than every offensive coordinator, like Todd Haley, goddamn. What I would do is I would put AJ Green in the slot and just throw to him. Hugh, AJ's injured. Well, I'd still put him there. He can still make a play, goddammit. Hey, Hugh Jackson. Yeah, I think this is a big game for the Browns. Now, the game of the week, I think, Vikings-Packers.
Yes. Just
Because of the implications, the rivalry, two teams who definitely have underperformed this season based on what we thought they would do. The Zimmer defense has underperformed and put too much on Kirk Cousins, and in recent weeks he's arguably
flaking.
Yeah, a little bit. I still think I saw David Carr write an article that said, bloody David Carr, I hate that man. The Super Bowl winner, no less. as a backup.
Yeah.
The number one overall pick, who did nothing.
Yeah.
I saw David Carr write an article that said that the Vikings were wrong to pay Kirk Cousins and they should have paid Case Keenum and kept him. Which I think just tells you all you need to know about that man and his takes.
Yeah, he's wrong.
Sounds perfect.
The thing is, though,
Sounds like
is
a dream.
I feel bad for Kirk Cousins, who seems to be the scapegoat in all of this, because he signed onto a team that was the number one defense last year and is now the number, I believe, 11 overall defense, which is quite a significant jump.
It's different, isn't it? He was signed as the cherry on top of the cake, and now he's being relied on as the cake.
Yeah. Which isn't him. It's not him.
It's the sponge that holds
he never has been.
He kind of was it at Washington, but that's because Washington was so bad. This team is not naturally that bad.
Yeah.
So I don't understand a lot. I mean, the logic I'm seeing is neither team necessarily has the better or worse defense. Like, Green Bay's can be good, but it's usually not. Yeah. Vikings could be very good, but it's, yeah. So then I'm looking at, well, who's got the better offense?
And I feel that teams are getting more used to the Vikings game plan, which would seem to be just to throw to Thielen, who just make great grabs. I feel that...
The other thing that's hurting the Vikings this year is Dalvin Cook can't seem to decide whether he's a good player or not.
This is the thing. I don't even know if it's a sophomore slump at this point or if it's just...
I don't know.
The offensive line isn't good.
Serious. Well, I think Minnesota's O-line has gone from like ranked 11th or something like that to ranked 32nd in pass protection and 29th in run blocking. So, you know, again, something Kirk didn't really sign up for. I know, the man's getting paid $84 million. Yeah. He can suck it up. But at the same time, it's not fair to pin it all on Kirk Cousins, who I actually think has been playing quite well. Yeah. When I look at the Packers team, the reason I've gone Packers over Vikings is just because this is the kind of game, I think this will be a watershed moment where Aaron Rodgers says, you know what, screw it. You know, sorry, Mike, Mick, whatever your name is. I'm going to do what I want. It's going to be another kind of fourth quarter situation. I think it's going to be a really tight game. I don't think it's going to be anything vaguely resembling a blowout. And I think Aaron Rodgers will just come and kind of clutch it, because as much as he hasn't been playing like Aaron Rodgers this season, it's not that I'm waiting for him to do that. I just feel like it's his time to do something amazing. Do you know what I mean?
It's quite funny you say that, though, because everyone's agreeing like he's not playing to his standard, but equally he has the 5th most passing yards. He has, I believe, the lowest amount of interceptions, tied with Breeze. I'm sure he's only thrown 1 pick the whole year. He ain't playing bad at all. It's just because he sets the way he's played in previous years. His standard is 1 or 2. Yeah, and it's weird that him being 5. And interestingly, though, don't you think that 1 and 2 this year are nowhere near 1 and 2 though? Brady and Rodgers, they seem to be overtaken by younger guys or guys that are as old as they are, but having that resurgence above them. So I'd say Cam Newton's been playing better than. Yeah, Cam Newton's been playing better than both of them. Yeah, maybe not in the last 2 weeks, but. Over the whole season. But then, see, I would agree in the sense that I think this is the now or never sort of moment for Rodgers. But
I'm not sure I'd go as far to say now or never, but I think...
In terms of the season, not
in terms of the season.
Oh, I think it is going forward.
Really?
If you lose this game, Mike McCarthy has to somehow explain to the most historic franchise in the sport that you have Aaron Rodgers and you didn't make the playoffs in the whole season he played. Yeah. Please explain it. You can't explain that. That's like Belichick having to explain that he couldn't get to the playoffs with Brady. And the only time he's never done that is the year after they won their first Super Bowl. What, 17 years ago? Yeah. I just think, I said it on Tuesday, I'll say it again. The Packers aren't making things easy for themselves. And it seems like they're really reluctant to... I don't know who to pin the blame on. I'm going to put my hat in the ring and say probably McCarthy, but they seem really reluctant to move away from what's worked in the past, even though they've got completely different pieces now and they need to kind of reevaluate and rejig that offense. But
I feel that
despite all that, I still feel like the Packers will come through.
Aaron Rodgers also seems to get quite annoyed with his team.
He's not a great leader in that sense.
Which probably doesn't help the locker room and the whole dynamic, because...
Also just things like calling out your coach. I feel like would Brady ever call out Belichick? Just like a lazy comparison.
You say this though, but haven't Brady and Belichick been engaged in a bit of a
bust up?
But I don't
but for the last couple of years,
very out with anything. I think that's all kind of like.
Or another example.
Belichick has though. If you go through the years, Belichick has he's done it in a very, subtle way. But like, for instance, with Deflategate, they asked him, were the balls deflated? I don't know. Ask Tom. I'm not the quarterback. As in, well, he knew.
Yeah.
I didn't know. And then that led to Brady getting suspended for 4 games and being fined all that money.
The other thing, if we look at another, I want to throw Andrew Luck in the ring as one of these kind of talents, because I think at the end of Andrew Luck's career, we're going to look at him in maybe not in the same respect as we look at Brady and Rodgers, but at least in a similar respect. Would Andrew Luck ever call out his coach? Or
No.
Blame the offense or anything like that? No.
I think that this is the problem with
Andrew Luck is probably the consummate leader. I think
he's had his ego inflated a bit by being called the GOAT and
the boat
and all these kinds of things.
Choo choo.
Right now, he's a Titanic.
Thumbnail.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers' face on the front of a boat just sinking.
Well, Aaron Rodgers as the Titanic sinking. I've used Aaron Rodgers a lot in our thumbnails recently. I feel like I should vary it up, but equally it's funny. Texans Titans finally. Is this the last chance saloon for the Titans?
No, because the Titans will do what the Titans always do and somehow make the playoffs at 9-7.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know I picked Titans. I really don't know. It's because it's one of those games.
It's just the kind of game where you're like, Titans won't show up, and then they show up and win.
Yeah.
Have the Texans won 7 in a row?
Yeah.
They're like...
Deshaun Watson's playing, I think, really underratedly well, if that's a word. Like, as in, he's not getting the credit he deserves, how well he's playing. They've dealt with the loss of Will Fuller really well, I think.
I feel that they're just a very solid team.
The defense is playing.
Defense has shown up in the last few weeks.
JJ Watt is having the year that
everyone has been waiting for JJ Watt to have.
Yeah.
But kind of doing it quietly.
Very, very good as well. It's like not as good as some teams, Saints. I'm not going to name the other ones.
Rams, Chiefs, I'll do it for you.
There you go. Rams, Chiefs, Saints, thank
Panthers.
you.
That's started off.
And their defense maybe isn't the best in the league. Oh.
I just think they made they made really smart picks in the draft. They made really smart pickups in free agency. They've dealt for Demaryius Thomas and dealt with that team need. And they're helping. Bill O'Brien is. I think he's having his best season, and it's no coincidence that that's also probably the season of which he's had the least limelight, and the season where he's not been outspoken in the media and not had the Texans haven't had the spotlight shone on them this season. I think it's helped a lot, definitely with Deshaun Watson. He could have very easily got lost in all the hype, and I think the fact that he wasn't the Deshaun Watson who threw 4 touchdowns against the Seahawks last year. And is he still? I don't know. I haven't watched enough Texans games to say, but I can say he wasn't in the first few weeks of the season. That's probably helped him moving forward because the media kind of found their new toy in Patrick Mahomes and left him alone to just do his thing.
I think this game is Titans defense against Texans offense, but that Titans defense is going to tear apart that offensive line. And Deshaun Watson has thrown a lot of interceptions this year. To say he's been playing well. He is
very gunslingery,
but he's a bit leaky with it.
Yeah,
and we've seen what the Titans can do with teams that let it leak.
True.
Look at Andrew Luck. 23 from 29, no turnovers at all.
Phillip Rivers.
Same thing. So it's like,
although Phillip Rivers is a bit of a turnover machine.
He is, but he wasn't in that game, and I think the Titans
feed off those turnovers.
I think they're going to need to have those if they're going to want to beat Houston, but. At the same time, if Houston can make it to 8-3, I think the division is pretty much theirs at that point.
Unless the Colts have an insane resurgence and win out.
And the Texans lose out.
Well, not lose out, but lose a couple games.
Number of games.
The thing is, though, when you look at the rest of the Texans' schedule, like before the season, I was like, Eagles, that could be their last big hurdle. Nope. No, I don't think so.
I think they might have one of the easiest schedules going forward,
Whereas Panthers have a hard schedule.
Sounds about right, yeah. Saints twice, Falcons. Still got the Browns to play. I'm worried about that game. Don't want to lose to the Browns. Don't want to get memes like that.
I've got a friend who still refers to and says the Browns will always be bad. It's like, and I'm like, but they're not anymore.
Wow, are they?
Well, look at their record, 4-6. I mean, I know it's not.
Yeah, whoa.
I know it's not glamorous.
This is someone who is a Rams fan in the Jeff Fisher era.
Yeah.
There's that mindset.
Appreciative of everything.
8-8 is amazing.
8-8 is not a losing record, so
I'm sick and tired of going 8-8. All right, Jeff, you can go 3-13 instead.
You can get fired. Lol.
Funny.
you've got to go into the darkest place to see the brightest.
Shut up. True though. You are why. Right, we've got about 3 minutes left. Seeing as it's Thanksgiving, I thought what would be a fun little activity if we had the time. What are you thankful for this year in the NFL?
Oh Lord.
For me, I'm thankful that Shula's gone to New York. I'm thankful for Cam Newton. And I'm also thankful for the Colts and Quentin Nelson. They're my 3 things to be thankful for.
I'm thankful for Brandon Cooks.
If I was you, I would just say Sean McVay about 1 million times.
I mean, that's from last year, isn't it?
I would still be thankful for Sean McVay.
Every year from now, I'm thankful for Sean McVay.
I would do that every day, every morning. If I was a Rams fan, which I was for 5 minutes before they were good, and then I felt bad. If I was a Rams fan, every morning I would wake up and I would put some kind of Rams paraphernalia on, and I'd say a prayer to Sean McVay. And then I'd take my paraphernalia off and then go about my day. And then before I went to sleep at night, I'd say another prayer to Sean McVay. Because Sean McVay is your god.
Not mine, but he does uphold the Rams team.
He is the Rams team. There's no,
I mean, without them, without a head
him and
coach.
Donald. Yeah. They're the two MVPs of that Rams team.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Jared Goff is special. I think he's good.
Really?
This is weird because I feel like I've got an affinity for players while they're rubbish, and then as soon as they start playing good, I start thinking of all the reasons why they're not good. Apart from my guys, yeah.
I think you can teach certain things, but you can't teach everything Goff is doing right now. He's too accurate.
It's weird because I called this all a couple years ago, and now I disagree with myself. I feel like he's, but I think actually, in fairness, I think you hit it on the head the other day, Matt, when you said, yes, Goff has been made by McVay, but that doesn't necessarily mean that his success is contingent on McVay being there. I think he can succeed in another system.
Jared Goff is going to be the next Tom Brady.
I think Jared Goff is more important to that
Are you
Rams.
saying that you don't rate Brady that much?
Yeah, you've just said you don't rate Goff.
Yeah, I don't rate Brady.
Do you rate Breeze?
Yeah, I do rate Brady.
I think who is a comparison for Jared Goff?
I think it will be someone like Brady or Breeze. Maybe not Breeze as much. More like Brady, where he's just going to stay with the Rams with Sean McVay for 10 years, 20 years, and they're just going to get so many playoffs and so many Super Bowls.
Max, quickly, what are you thankful for?
I'm thankful to Patrick Mahomes for allowing me to relive Brett Favre, because he is exactly the same player, just half-cast.
Any Bucks players you want to be thankful for? If I was you, I'd be thankful.
I'm thankful to Dirk
Mike
Carter
Evans.
for being so incompetent that he is getting himself fired.
Why not be thankful for the first 3 weeks of the season?
Because it hurts. It hurts to be let down like that.
Oh no!
I'd be thankful for Mike Evans. Anyway, that's all we got time for this week. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back on Tuesday as always with our review show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. All the best. Goodbye.